The reward for information about what happened to Nolan Wells just hit $175,000. Tyler Perry put in $50,000. Al Sharpton put in $50,000. Terrell Owens put in $25,000. And the newest $50,000 comes from a source that no one expected. A father whose son was on the island with Nolan the day he died. That sentence deserves a second read. The man putting up $50,000 to help find out what happened to Nolan Wells is the father of one of the friends who was there. His name is Dr. Benjamin Hudson. His son is Warren Hudson. Warren is the friend who told authorities that Nolan stayed behind on Horn Island with a young woman while the rest of the group left. Warren is the friend whose name has been dragged across the internet for weeks. Warren is the friend who received thousands of death threats. Warren is the friend who skipped Nolan's memorial service because the threats against him were so severe that showing up was not safe. And now Warren's father is putting up $50,000 of his own money to help find out what happened to the young man his son was with that day. Let me set the full picture for you. The reward pool for information leading to an arrest and conviction in Nolan Wells' death stands at $175,000 as of the latest reports. Tyler Perry, the media mogul and filmmaker, pledged $50,000. Tyler Perry has a long history of supporting families in high-profile cases, and his involvement brought national attention and resources. Reverend Al Sharpton pledged $50,000 through his organization. Sharpton has been vocal about the case and has used his platform to keep it in the national conversation. Terrell Owens, the NFL wide receiver, pledged $25,000. And then there is Dr. Benjamin Hudson. Dr. Hudson is offering $50,000 on behalf of himself and his son Warren. He stated that he wants justice for the Wells family. He said this as his own family has received thousands of death threats in the 3 weeks since Nolan's death. His son has been accused online of being involved in Nolan's death. His son has been doxxed. His family has been targeted. And in the middle of all of that, this father decided to put up $50,000 to help find answers. Now, I want you to sit with the complexity of this for a minute, because this is not a simple story. This is not a clear-cut narrative. This is a situation where a father is doing something that can be read in two completely different ways, and both readings are legitimate. The first reading is this: a father believes his son is innocent. He believes Warren had nothing to do with Nolan's death. He believes the internet has wrongly accused his son. And by putting up $50,000 to help find the real answer, he is saying to the world, I am so confident that my son had nothing to do with this that I am willing to fund the investigation myself. Put my money where my mouth is. Find the truth, because the truth will clear my son. That is a powerful statement. It is a father using his resources to push for an investigation that he believes will exonerate his family. It is a man who, instead of hiding, instead of lawyering up and staying silent, is stepping forward and saying, here is $50,000. Let us find out what happened. And if the answer clears my son, then every person who sent my family death threats will know they were wrong. The second reading is this: a father whose son is at the center of public suspicion is using money to control the narrative. By inserting himself into the reward pool, by aligning himself with Tyler Perry and Al Sharpton, by positioning his family as allies of the Wells family rather than subjects of suspicion, he is reshaping how the public sees his son. He is changing the optics. He is moving his family from the suspect column to the justice-seeking column, and $50,000 is the price of that move. I am not telling you which reading is correct. I do not know. No one knows what is in Dr. Hudson's heart. Maybe he is a father who genuinely wants the truth, regardless of what it reveals. Maybe he is a father who is certain of his son's innocence and is putting his money behind that certainty. Maybe it is both. Maybe it is neither. What I am telling you is that this is one of the most emotionally complex developments in this entire case, and it deserves to be understood in its full complexity. Here is what we know about Warren Hudson's position in this case. Warren was on Horn Island with Nolan on July 4th. He is one of the friends who was part of the group that went to the island that day. According to the accounts that have been made public, Warren told authorities that Nolan stayed behind on the island with a young woman when the rest of the group left. That account has been the basis for much of the public scrutiny of Warren. People on the internet have asked, why did you leave him? Who was the young woman? Why was your story the way it was? And from those questions, a wave of accusations, threats, and harassment was born. Warren received thousands of death threats. His mother, Judge Ashley Cole, received threats directed at her and her young children. She deactivated her social media accounts. Warren did not attend Nolan's memorial service. Whether that was his choice or a decision made for safety reasons, the result is the same. A young man who was friends with Nolan Wells could not attend his friend's memorial because the internet had decided he was guilty of something. And now his father is putting up $50,000. The total reward of $175,000 is a gravitational force. That kind of money changes the math for anyone who knows something. If you were on that island, if you were on that boat, if you were in the area, if you heard something, if you saw something, if you know something, $175,000 is enough to make you think very hard about whether you should come forward. It is enough to overcome fear. It is enough to overcome loyalty. It is enough to overcome silence. But the reward also changes the dynamics of who is pushing for answers and why. When Tyler Perry puts in $50,000, that is a philanthropic gesture from a man with no personal connection to the case. When Al Sharpton puts in $50,000, that is an advocacy gesture from a public figure who has attached himself to the cause. But when Dr. Benjamin Hudson puts in $50,000, that is something different. That is a man with a personal stake in the outcome, a man whose son is a central figure in the story, a man whose family has been targeted because of their proximity to the case. That makes the reward pool a more complicated thing. It is no longer just a fund for justice. It is also a stage where personal interests, family loyalties, and public perception all intersect. And the question that hangs over it is the same question that hangs over everything in this case. What is the truth and who is genuinely looking for it? Ben Crump, the family's attorney, has been the public face of the push for answers. He has been vocal, visible, and relentless. The reward money is part of that strategy. Keep the case in the news, keep the pressure on, keep the incentive for someone to come forward. And $175,000 is a serious incentive. But the addition of Dr. Hudson's money adds a layer that cannot be ignored. The family of a person of interest in the court of public opinion is now financially invested in the outcome of the investigation. Think about what that means from the Wells family's perspective. They lost their son. They do not trust the official story. They have hired attorneys and experts. They have accepted help from celebrities and activists. And now they are accepting $50,000 from the father of a boy who was on the island with their son when he died. A boy who the public suspects. A boy whose account of what happened has been scrutinized and questioned. The father of that boy is now contributing to the fund that is supposed to find the truth about what happened to their son. Is that an alliance? Is that a gesture of good faith? Is it a strategic move? Is it all of those things at once? The answer depends on who you ask and what they believe about Warren Hudson's involvement. And that is the point. This development does not resolve any questions. It adds new ones. It adds complexity to a case that is already drowning in complexity. The pressure that $175,000 creates is real. Someone out there knows something. Someone out there has a piece of information that could break this case open, and $175,000 is sitting there waiting for that person. But while we wait for someone to claim it, the people in the crosshairs are living in fear. Warren Hudson is living in fear. His mother is living in fear. Her children are living in fear. Bart Edmiston, another friend who was there that day, has been doxxed and accused online. Nolan's own mother is being attacked at her workplace by strangers. The question is not whether the money will produce answers. Maybe it will, maybe someone will come forward and the case will break wide open. The question is what happens to the people in the crosshairs while the world waits for someone to claim $175,000? How many more death threats will be sent? How many more people will be doxxed? How many more federal arrests will be made? How many more families will be destroyed by the internet's need to assign blame before the evidence is in? A father put up $50,000. He did it for his son and for the family of the boy his son was with when that boy died. He did it while his family was under siege. He did it while the internet was calling his son a killer. He did it knowing that the truth, whatever it is, will either clear his son or condemn him. That is either the act of a man who is certain of his son's innocence or the act of a man who is playing a very high-stakes game. And right now, no one knows which one it is. $175,000. That is what it costs to keep the pressure on. That is what it costs to keep the case alive. And the most expensive piece of that pressure, the most emotionally loaded, the most strategically complex, the most deeply human piece, is the $50,000 that came from a father who is defending his son while searching for the truth about someone else's. There is a broader story here about how celebrity money changes the mechanics of a case. Tyler Perry, Al Sharpton, and Terrell Owens are not just donors. They are amplifiers. When they attach their names to a reward, the case gets covered by outlets that would otherwise ignore it. When they speak publicly about the case, it trends. When they show up at memorials or press conferences, cameras follow. Their money is a small part of what they bring. Their platforms are the real contribution. And by putting up $50,000, $50,000, and $25,000 respectively, they are also putting up their credibility and their visibility. That is why Dr. Benjamin Hudson's $50,000 is different in kind, not just in origin. He is not an amplifier in the same way. He does not have a national platform. He does not have millions of followers. What he has is a stake. A personal, painful, deeply human stake in how this case is resolved. And by putting his money on the table alongside the celebrities, he is saying, my stake is worth as much as their platforms. My family is worth as much as their fame. And the answers we need are worth every dollar I can contribute. For the people who believe Warren Hudson is innocent, this is a moment of validation. A father would not put up $50,000 for a case that would ultimately condemn his own son, they will argue. He must know something. He must be certain. And that certainty, backed by real money, is the strongest defense of Warren Hudson that has been offered publicly since the case began. For the people who believe Warren Hudson is involved, this is a moment of suspicion. A father with resources is trying to buy his way out of the story, they will argue. He is using his money to reshape the narrative. He is positioning his family as allies of the victim rather than subjects of scrutiny. And the $50,000 is not a gesture of good faith. It is a strategic move designed to change the optics. Both readings can be argued. Both readings will be argued. And the case is now going to be discussed with this new complexity added to every conversation. The reward pool is no longer just a fund. It is a political statement. It is a family alignment. It is a challenge to anyone who has been accusing Warren Hudson online. And it is a bet that the truth, when it comes out, will favor the people who put up the money. For Christine Wansley and Elmore Wansley, Nolan's parents, this development is another layer of complexity in a case that has already piled on more than any grieving family should have to carry. They are accepting $50,000 from a family whose son the internet has been accusing of involvement in their son's death. That acceptance sends a message, whether they intend it to or not. And how the public reads that message will shape how the next chapter of this case unfolds. $175,000. The pressure is on, the reward is real, and the most complicated dollar in that pool is the one that came from a father who is fighting for his own family while helping to search for the truth about someone else's. That is not a simple story. That is not a clean narrative. That is the story of two families whose lives collided on a barrier island on the 4th of July, and who are now bound together in a way that neither of them would have chosen, but neither of them can escape.